Going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And today I have something a little bit different for y'all. I am doing an NFL mock draft. With the draft being later this month, I think it's appropriate to do so. And I'm just going to hop right into this. And just a rule of my draft is I'm going to make it without any trades. I know the Panthers did acquire the number one overall pick, so that's obviously going to be in here, but I'm not going to be trading any team picks, even though I know there's a lot of speculation going on right now about maybe some picks being traded, but I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to go based off of the current order, who I think should go to each team needs, everything like that. And another thing is that the Miami Dolphins don't actually have a first round pick because they forfeited it in the illegal tampering thing with Tom Brady. So that is something. So there's only going to be 31 picks in this draft, which that's how it's going to be April 27th. So other teams without a first round pick include the Cleveland Browns, the Denver Broncos, the Los Angeles Rams, the Dolphins. Like I said before, they forfeited theirs, and the 49ers. All those other ones did come in trades, though. But without further ado, if you like this kind of content, please subscribe. It would mean a lot. But let's just hop straight into this. So, with the first pick in the draft, we got the Carolina Panthers over here. And I'm going to be honest with y'all. This pick, I don't think it's that controversial whatsoever. But I have them taking this guy right here, Bryce Young, quarterback out of Alabama. And you may be thinking, what about CJ Stroud? He's projected to go number one. They've already said that they wanted him, but just hear me out. I think Young, he's a great quarterback. If you're in the conversation to even go to the NFL, you're a crazy athlete. So all these guys are crazy athletic. So there's nothing, you can't knock him for, his size, which I don't think is a big issue whatsoever. But it's not Young that sold me on him being number one overall. It's that I just don't think Stroud will be this great quarterback because uh, I don't think Ohio State produces good quarterbacks. Like I just don't. That's just my personal opinion. I feel like they obviously have super good wide receivers. Like from the past few years, you got Scary Terry, Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, just so many other great wide receivers that they kind of carry that Buckeye offense. So I don't think Stroud is as good as a quarterback as what he's made out to be. Like, I'm not saying that he's a bad quarterback whatsoever, but I just feel like Ohio State quarterbacks are just kind of a bust. Like, you got Cardell Jones, he led them to the national championship, made it to the league, never really heard from him again. Dwayne Haskins was another one, which he did sadly pass away, but he didn't really do much in the league once he made it. And I think it's because that Ohio State offense was just so good that the quarterback position was just kind of like a secondary position to them. But for all you CJ Stroud fans out there, I know that was a Bryce Young pick, and we ended up talking about CJ Stroud, so that just goes to show. But he goes number two overall right here to the Houston Texans. They definitely need a quarterback of the future. Uh, he's the whole package, and like I said, both these quarterbacks, regardless of the order, these are the top two picks in my opinion. So moving on to the Arizona Cardinals at number three. And this is the pick that will probably be traded. If I had to put my money on a pick to be traded, it'd be this pick to the Cardinals, whether it be a team moving up to try to get that quarterback or what. I definitely feel like this is the pick. But in my draft, I'm not doing trades. So they take the best player available. Then it is a team need, but they get Will Anderson Jr. out of Alabama. He's, I think, like I said, I think he arguably the best player in this draft. And like I said, it's just the safest pick in my opinion because it's not a quarterback. This is the safest pick. If Arizona does stay at three, this is who I feel they'll take 100%. So moving on to Indianapolis, another quarterback needy team, and I do have them taking a quarterback. I have them taking quarterback Anthony Richardson out of Florida. So, they've kind of been in QB purgatory since Andrew Luck left, kind of just going with the flow type of deal. And Anthony Richardson, crazy athletic guy. If you've seen his pro day, he's just back flipping everywhere. So definitely, he's got all the tools to succeed too. It might take him a few years, where I think Stroud and Young might be a little bit more NFL ready than him, but I definitely think this is a good pick for them. Moving on to Seattle, which I thought at first Seattle might draft a quarterback to kind of back up Geno Smith, but they just gave him that contract. So they're kind of in that boat where maybe they trade this pick, maybe not. But I also have them just taking the best player available, and that's Jalen Carter, defensive tackle out of Georgia. So why not solidify that defensive tackle position? Just get the best player, plug him in. You got Geno Smith there. He's going to hold down the fort there at quarterback for a while. So why bother? Detroit, another one of those non-quarterback needy teams. And I have them getting all the way down here Devin Witherspoon, a cornerback out of Illinois. So first corner off the board goes to Detroit, and he's a nice physical defensive back, and I think that'll fit really well in Dan Campbell's scheme. Detroit, their mental toughness or whatever. Plus, they did just trade Jeff Okuda to the Falcons, so that there's room in that cornerback room now. So I think this pick makes complete total sense. Moving on to the Raiders, and the Raiders, I can't even see them on this list. I might have to search it. Oh no, just go to the offense. I didn't even know. Wow. I have them taking quarterback Will Levis out of Kentucky. Derek Carr left. They need a quarterback. They got Devontae Adams. Their defense is pretty solid. They got Josh Jacobs. I feel like they are a quarterback away from competing, and they just grabbed the best quarterback left. He's the fourth quarterback off the board. And this draft, he does fall to them, but it wouldn't surprise me come draft night if some team does trade up to get him. And that moves us on to Atlanta, which I will go back to the all screen now because they do not go with an offensive player. I have them taking this guy, Tyree Wilson, edge out of Texas Tech. So Atlanta has made major improvements on their defense. They got Jesse Bates in the secondary. They just traded for Jeff Okuda. So I have them getting this powerful, imposing guy who's 6'6". This guy's just a beast. So why wouldn't Atlanta want a guy like this on their line? So hopefully that in that NFC South, I definitely think that division is just wide open at this point. So Atlanta, they're kind of my money pick right now to win it. So like I said, they get a good edge. And moving on to Chicago, who did trade out of that first overall pick, I have them taking Peter Skoronski. I think that's how you say his last name, out of Northwestern. So they've moved out of the number one pick. They're sticking with Justin Fields. So what do they got to do? They got to protect him. And he is my number one offensive lineman in this draft. So that's who they take. They're going to protect him. They think they got their quarterback of the future. So be it. And they just got Justin Fields a weapon in that Carolina trade. So protect him. You got to protect your quarterback, your young quarterback, especially Fields, who is a runner. So moving on to number 10, I have the Philadelphia Eagles taking Miles Murphy out of Clemson. So the Eagles, they got a good defensive line. They really do. But a lot of those guys like Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, they are getting older. So they will need to bring in some young guys who can eventually take over the role. And what I think is great for Murphy is that he won't have to just come in and produce right away. Like I'm going to use Will Anderson as an example. Anderson's going to be he's going to have to produce right away. He's a high pick, blah, blah, blah. But with Miles Murphy, with that stacked Eagles line, he might not have to do that. He can come in rotationally, kind of be the fresh legs, work his way in. And then when these older guys kind of move out of the way, he's there to just fill that role. And boom, Philadelphia's line's still complete for a while now. So that's the top 10. You want to get another good look at that? We got Bryce Young, Stroud, Anderson, Richardson, Carter, Witherspoon, Levitz, Wilson, Skoronski, and Murphy. And that brings us to Tennessee. In this pick, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I was debating a lot of this pick. I was thinking maybe go quarterback because of the Ryan Tannehill situation, but I just didn't feel like any quarterbacks. None of the quarterbacks left, in my opinion, were worthy of the number 11 pick. I know you got Hendon Hooker out of uh, Tennessee, and I thought about it, but they just drafted Malik Willis last year, and I just went a completely different way, but still covering a need of theirs. And I have them grabbing Jackson Smith, Njigba. I don't know how to pronounce that name. The wide receiver out of Ohio State. So regardless of who their quarterback is, they have a weapon. They definitely realized trading AJ Brown was a huge mistake. But like I said, whoever is their quarterback next year will need a weapon, and he just fills the role perfectly. So Houston now has their second pick of the first round. This is the pick that they got from Cleveland in the Deshaun Watson trade. And they drafted CJ Stroud earlier, and I have them drafting a guy on the opposite side of the ball. And I have them going with Lucas Van Ness, an edge out of Iowa. So they already drafted a quarterback, and with a wide receiver already off the board, who I also, if Tennessee doesn't take Jackson Smith, then I feel like Houston would definitely grab him, pair that college wide receiver with his quarterback. tons of teams have done it. The Bengals, like Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, number one example that pops into my mind. So they just get another solid edge that hopefully can transform that defense, get young guys both on both sides of the ball early in this draft to help move Houston to the future. And with the Jets, so the Jets was one that I have them taking Paris Johnson Jr. out of Ohio State. And if the Jets get Aaron Rodgers, they're going to need to protect him. They've done a bunch to get him weapons. They brought in Lazard. I know they've already had solid receivers. I know Brees Hall, solid rookie running back. Their defense is pretty complete already. So if they do get Aaron Rodgers, then they'll definitely need to protect him. And I know Becton has had injury issues and whatever, but just bringing in a solid offensive lineman will never hurt a team. So we got New England, and I have them going with, which I don't see it here, so I'm going to have to go this route. But I have them taking Zay Flowers, wide receiver out of Boston College. So the Pats lost Jacoby Myers in the free agency. He went to the Raiders. So Mac Jones needs a new wide receiver, kind of a slot guy that can be reliable. And I feel like Zay Flowers just fits that Patriots mold perfectly. I think this pick just made a lot of sense to me when I was coming up with this all. So I have him just shipping off to New England and moving on to the Green Bay Packers. So I have this pick in mind that Aaron Rodgers is not going to be here. And this is probably probably the most controversial pick that I have so far. And I have them taking Michael Mayer, a tight end out of Notre Dame. And the Packers haven't drafted a skill position like a wide receiver, tight end, or running back in the first round. And I think it's been, I don't even know how many years. It has been forever since they've done this. So if Jordan Love is their quarterback next year, why why wouldn't it hurt to pair the 6'4", 250-pound tight end with him? He's a huge target. Jordan Love couldn't miss him. So I just feel like if Love is the quarterback, give him a tool to succeed. And I think Meyer, coming from Notre Dame, I think he's a really solid tight end. I think he would just fit in Green Bay pretty well too. So moving on to Washington. And this is a pretty offensive heavy mock draft of mine. I know that I do have a decent amount of defense too, but a lot of these positions I have them being offense. So let's see here on my list. I have them taking offense. I have them taking Osiris Torrance out of Florida. So whether it be Sam Howell or Jacoby Brissett starting, building a solid interior line is definitely beneficial. So with their I wouldn't even say uncertainty, just whoever they're going to start at quarterback will definitely need protected, kind of like other teams. So they just bring in a guard, a solid guy, and yeah, that's about all I have to say for that. So Pittsburgh's on the clock next at 17, and I do have them going defense, and they take the son of a former Pittsburgh Steeler, and I have them taking Joey Porter Jr. out of Penn State. So Pittsburgh had some luck in the draft in previous years drafting from Penn State, aka Pat Fryermuth. So why not keep it in state, draft the son of a former player? I definitely think Porter's one of the top cornerbacks in this class, and I feel like the Steelers are love to have him. I know he's tall, he's like long arms, definitely a lanky dude. I feel like he's definitely a pro-ready cornerback, and like I said, just keep the Porter family in Pittsburgh. Moving on to Detroit, their second pick of this first round, and I have them taking. I don't see it here, so I have them taking Kalijah Cansey, a defensive tackle out of Pitt. So Dan Campbell is beefing up that defense, so watch out from Detroit. Got that corner in with their first round pick, with their first round pick, and now getting the defensive lineman with that second. Uh, watch out for Detroit. I think they're definitely. I knew they turned a lot of heads last year, but I definitely think this year they're just going to take that next step. So moving on to Tampa Bay, they also stick with the defensive side of the ball, and I have them taking Christian Gonzalez, the cornerback out of Oregon. So with Mayfield, their offense should be good enough. It should be serviceable enough. They already got Mike Evans. Mayfield's coming in. Which should probably be a little bit of an improvement over Brady if Mayfield plays good. So I think they address the defensive side of the ball with this guy. Uh, yeah. So Seattle, another team, moving on, another team with their second pick. They go defense, and they go with, which I don't see right through here. I have them taking, where is it? Nolan Smith, an edge out of Georgia. So they're double dipping in that Georgia defensive line room. They already got what was it? Who'd I have? I already forgot. Jalen Carter out of Georgia. So pair him with a line mate, Nolan Smith. Already instant chemistry from their college years, and Georgia was the best college football team. So why not just take half their line and put it on your team? Seattle definitely gearing up. I have them. Which this is another pick where I could have had them taking a backup quarterback, but I just think best player available. Just beef up that defensive line because it's an important position. Then we got the Chargers, who, let's go back to the offensive side of the ball. I have them taking wide receiver Quentin Johnston. And my reason for this is why not give Herbert another weapon? I know Keenan Allen's kind of getting up there in age, and he does have Mike Williams. So if something happens to Allen and he does get injured or whatever, Quentin Johnston, I just think, is a solid, good enough wide receiver where he would be a good 3 or 4 guy. But in the case he need to be a 2, I feel like he could definitely fill that role really well. And like I said, just give Herbert another weapon. Just let him cook. So moving on to Baltimore, they go with the defensive side of the ball. And I have yet another cornerback going off the board. I have Deonte Banks. So Michigan's just Michigan. I don't know why I said Michigan. I seen the M for Maryland and I just registered Michigan. So disregard that. So Baltimore is sticking in the state, drafting a Maryland kid. And with the uncertainty of Lamar, whether or not he's going to be there, and I think it was better off staying away from the offensive side of the ball in this mock draft of mine. So I just have them drafting a player for the defensive side of the ball who will develop and I think be a good addition to their secondary. I know they did just sign Beckham to hopefully keep Lamar there, but with the uncertainty surrounding the offense, I definitely thought defensive player for them was the way to go here. So to Minnesota at the 23rd pick, I have them taking Jordan Addison. I don't know why I completely botched that name. It's Addison. It's not even a hard name to say. Jordan Addison at a USC. They lost Adam Thielen in free agency to the Panthers, so Justin Jefferson's definitely going to step up. Well, he was already their number one guy, but why make him just step up and carry that whole offense when you can bring in a very, very solid wide receiver to ease the burden of him? And Addison won't have to just come in and be the one right away. He can learn from Jefferson, maybe be that 3, move up to that 2, whatever. I think him and Jefferson paired together will make a good dynamic duo for Kirk Cousins. So moving on to Jacksonville, I have them on the offensive side of the ball getting T-Law another target. I have them taking Darnell Washington, which this guy, oh my gosh, if you watch the Combine, which, hey, check my video out on the Combine where I'm not a fan of it, but this guy, he impressed. He was just a freak of nature, just bulldozing stuff. Uh, so yeah, why not just give a 6'7" freak of nature to Trevor Lawrence? They already got Calvin Ridley coming back. They got Christian Kirk. So yeah, Jacksonville's going to be a force. They're probably going to win the division again. I mean, I'm all for it. So yeah, go Jags, I guess. Moving on to the Giants, another offensive side of the ball. I have them taking Steve Avila, guard out of TCU. So whether it be blocking for Saquon Barkley or protecting Daniel Jones, why not draft one of the stronger offensive guards, beef up that line? You can never have a too good. You can't have too good of an offensive line. Yeah, I don't know. I suck at English, even though that's what I speak. But yeah, so why not? Yeah, I know Saquon Barkley hasn't signed his franchise tag, and there might be a little holdout on a contract thing. But with a solid line in front of him, why wouldn't you want to just stay in New York? And speaking about running back, that brings us on to our next pick, the Dallas Cowboys, and I have them taken by Bijan Robinson, running back out of Texas. So with the Ezekiel Elliott, with him being cut, Dallas, I don't think I think Pollard's a very good complementary back. I don't think he's a bona fide number one running back. Like I look at like Derrick Henry being a number one running back. I look at like Nick Chubb, Dalvin Cook, Saquon Barkley, but I don't look at Tony Pollard in that same category. Therefore, I feel like they definitely need to address this running back situation. And the only running back I have going in the first round is to the Cowboys. So they stay in the great Lone Star State of Texas, and they grab Robinson. He'll replace Elliott, and yeah, I think him and Pollard would be a good pairing together. So yeah, moving on to the Bills. And if the Cowboys didn't take Robinson in my little fantasy mock draft, I definitely think the Bills would have taken him. So I do have them. They go. They stay on the offensive side of the ball with, where is it? Where is he? Da, 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 maybe he was a center. Luke Weipler out of Ohio State. So I know he's interior. I didn't do. I know they definitely need uh, that. Uh, hmm. I know, but I don't even know. I just had a complete like just aneurysm right there. I don't even know. I just completely lost all focus and train of thought. But with Buffalo losing out on the running back Robinson, I feel like, and they've kind of been struggling with running backs. They definitely need an offensive line that can block. And whether Weipler can start right away or not, I do feel like he'll be a great depth piece for them if he doesn't already make the starting lineup, which I feel like he very well could. So yeah, I feel like I said, you can't go wrong with offensive linemen, especially if they do pan out. But moving on to Cincinnati, I have them on the defensive side of the ball taking Brian Branch. So they lost Jesse Bates to the Falcons, so they definitely have a little bit of a hole at safety. So they take the best safety of this draft. So yeah, I didn't put much thought into this one. They lose a safety, they gain a safety. Bottom line. So moving on to the Saints, I have them taking Brian Breezy, the defensive tackle out of Clemson. You already got Jordan Cameron on that line. Why not just add a 6'6", 300-pound, you know, player to that line with him? It sounds like a recipe for success. Man, I really shouldn't film videos with gum, and this is the first one, and I'm just fumbling, stumbling, bumbling, all the words for just fumbling this video. And I think it was going so well too. But yeah, I have them taking Brian Brees. Uh, the NFC South, I definitely think is probably going to be the weakest division. So it's kind of up for grabs. I'm kind of liking Atlanta with the moves they've made, but if you got Cam Jordan, add Breesy to that line, I feel like I said, I feel like it's just a successful way to go. Moving on to the Eagles, the second to last pick, and I have them taking back to the offensive side of the ball. I have them taking Darnell Wright, offensive tackle out of Tennessee. So I think this is like a plan for the future type of pick. I know they got Lane Johnson right now, but he's had some injuries. So if they draft Wright to just kind of back up, maybe fill the role in mid to late season if Lane goes down, or just kind of groom him for the next couple of years so he can just fully take over that right tackle position later on. I feel that's the way to go. That's what I would do if I was Philadelphia, because you already got good wide receivers. You already got your quarterback of the future. Your defense is really solid. So why not take a position where it's good for now, but it could be better, and just kind of an insurance blanket, if you will. And that brings us to the last pick number 31, which normally they have 32, but like I said, the Dolphins forfeited their pick. But pick number 31, we're going to the defensive side of the ball. And we're going to the linebackers. And I'm having them take Jack Campbell. And okay, I don't know what just happened, but we'll just click full results. And here's my mock draft. Uh, I'll scroll all the way down. I have them taking Jack Campbell, and I feel like he's definitely the top linebacker in this draft. I don't know if Will Anderson classifies as a linebacker. I have him more of an edge, but Jack Campbell, I just felt like this was a Kansas City pick where they just kind of, they know they're the best, so why not just get a guy that just falls, that's just definitely a solid overall player. I just there wasn't much thought or reasoning to why I have them taking Jack Campbell other than when I seen that I haven't had him go to any other team, I was just like, I feel like he's a Kansas City pick. And that was about it. And I was just like, yeah, that's good enough for me. So yeah, let's review this round one of my first ever unpretentious sports mock draft. We have Bryce Young going number one overall to the Panthers. The Texans take CJ Stroud. Cardinals get Will Anderson Jr. Colts get Anthony Richardson. Seahawks get Jalen Carter. Detroit The Lions get Devin Witherspoon. I almost just called them the Tigers there on accident. Man, that would have been a blow, wouldn't it? The Raiders get Will Levis. Falcons get Tyree Wilson. The Bears get Peter Skoronski. The Eagles get Miles Murphy. Titans get Jackson Smith Ninjigba. The Texans also get Lucas Van Ness. The Jets get Paris Johnson Jr. The Patriots get Zay Flowers. The Packers get Michael Mayer. The Commanders get Osiris Torrance. Steelers get Joey Porter Jr. The Lions, I almost just called them the Tigers again. The Lions get Kalijah Cansey. Yeah, man, I'm just fumbling the bag here. The Buccaneers get Christian Gonzalez. The Seahawks get Nolan Smith. Chargers, Quentin Johnston. The Ravens, Deontay Banks. Vikings, Jordan Addison. Addison? Addison, man. I mess that up every time. It's just so easy. The Jaguars get Darnell Washington. Giants get Steve Avila. The Cowboys get Bijan Robinson. The Bills get Luke Weipler. The Bengals get Brian Branch. The Saints get Brian Breesy. The Eagles get Darnell Wright. And the Chiefs get Jack Campbell. And that's it. Let me know what you think of this mock draft, whether it's great, whether it sucks, what you would change, what you think I got right, what you think I got wrong. And after the draft, I'll make like a little comparison video to see what I got right. I think I definitely got at least 3 right, right? Like the odds of me getting, I had to have at least gotten 3. And if I didn't, I would be sad. But hey, that's just life, I guess. Huh? You can't get them all. You can't win them all. And but yeah, so let me know what you think, what you would change. Like I said, all that fun stuff. Like this video, please subscribe to the channel. It would mean a lot. But yeah, I had a lot of fun doing this, and like I said, there was no trades in this. It's just how the order is now. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see who these teams do actually draft on draft night. But anyway, I hope y'all have a good one, and God bless.